Welcome to the Handcrafted Podcast, the business of making things. I'm Paul, founder of Philadelphia Table Company and the Handcrafted Network, and I believe great craftsmanship deserves great business strategy. This podcast is for makers who want to build not just great products, but a thriving business. Each episode will dive into the mindset, systems, and skills that turn craft into success. Hey guys, welcome back to the Handcrafted Podcast. Hope everybody's been doing great. So, reminder, this podcast is brought to you by the Handcrafted Network. I've had a few people sign up recently, and a part of that sign-up process is you do a one-on-one call with me, and we kind of chat through some things. And time again, I come back to an actual course that I made within the program. It's called Year of Growth. So what I do is actually break down a month by month strategy to get your business up and running. So everything from social media strategy to cold outreach to pricing, all of that stuff, but it's all stacked and in order. So it's it doesn't make sense to do cold outreach if your social media is not in place. So it's everything is in order, and then there's a cost analysis thing. So it doesn't make sense to, do cost analysis until you start getting some closed deals. So if you're looking for a path or a sort of step-by-step way to get from where you are to where you want to be, it doesn't matter where you are, how far you are within your business. I think by doing this within this breakdown, it's going to get you to where you want to be. It's going to grow the business regardless. And the reason why I did it, called it a year of growth, of course, everyone wants the fast track. Everyone wants the ripped abs in 30 days, 60 days, or whatever. It's just because, as you guys know from this podcast, there's just so much stuff you could be working on at any given time. So what I wanted to do is create attainable bite-sized things that are sort of goals and objectives for the month. So one whole month is focused on social media. One whole month is focused on cold outreach. So this way you go step by step and really master the process, and everything builds on top of itself. So once you do social media and you do cold outreach, it's not like social media is done. You then have developed the skill set to continue doing the social media, and then you build on top of that to get the cold outreach. So if you're looking for, and I've been getting a lot of questions about this, if you've been looking for an actual program and path, we talk about the community. That's an amazing perk, and that's an amazing part of this. But another really big part of it is the classroom section, where I have this sort of protocol broken down to really break down where to go next, what to do next, how to post on social media, what to post on social media, all of that sort of stuff. So if you're interested in that, handcraftednetwork.com, or send me an email, paul@thehandcraftednetwork.com, and I'll gladly talk you through it. And when you do sign up, I look forward to kind of doing that cool one-on-one thing. You're prompted to do 15 minutes, but a lot of times I'm talking with people over an hour and something, and just kind of helping connect the dots and help you get to where you want to be. The other thing I've been offering too is a little bit of one-on-one coaching. I have one more slot open, so if you're interested in doing that, paul@thehandcraftednetwork.com. I limit that because I am very active in my business, and you can only do so much with your time, but it's been really rewarding to see people grow and achieve their goals. It's just been super awesome. All right, guys, so with that said, today I wanted to talk a little bit about what I've been doing, sort of my thought process. So I think all of us are, because we're doers, we're makers, always think that we need to be physically doing something. So either sitting behind a computer or physically building that thing, or shaping that thing or using that tool or whatever. We often undervalue our downtime. We often undervalue the thought of being bored. So with that said, I tried to embrace that this week, and I've been trying to work more and more on that, because I am also guilty of this. I have ADHD, as many of you guys know, so I kind of constantly need to be active. However, for me, I'm in a fortunate position in the fact that I have a 4-month-old son and bottle feeding, so there's a solid 20 minutes, 30 minutes of sitting there kind of doing nothing. So sometimes I would scroll on my phone, or I would read or do other stuff, and obviously you're supposed to be paying attention to the kid, all that stuff. But now what I've been trying to do is use that time to really think and get creative and get bored and get curious. So the thing I was thinking on the other day, which I then talked about in our scaling group call yesterday, was on my board in my office at PTC, I have a thing that just says why PTC, why Philadelphia Table Company? Like, why would anybody come to us and work with us, etc., right? Because there's so many other options out there. So as I was pondering that and sitting kind of just like, I don't know, quote unquote, meditating on that, the other day I kind of came up with the idea of, wait, what's actually more valuable is thinking about the why not. Like, why not our company? What are the oppositions? And I know this sounds obvious, but I think a lot of people, you know, even when I mentioned this on the group call yesterday, a lot of people are like, oh, wow, that's like an interesting perspective. Because it's, the why nots gives you what are the things that you could sort of change and the things that you could sort of like work on and double down on. So I'm going to go through like some of those that I kind of like learned and leaned into and talk about my thought process a little bit. And I think it's also helpful to break down sort of like the different types of clients you have. For us, what I was doing, and this, I ignored the commercial stuff for now. So for now, I was just thinking about homeowner and then like interior designer. So the whys, I was like, okay, why are people coming to us? Why do people want us? So people coming to us for quality, people coming to us for custom pieces. They're coming to us maybe because of like the customer service and the sales process. And they're also sort of coming to us for maybe a brand name, which also may be the reason why they're not coming to us. So we'll talk about that in a little bit too. But things where it's like they like the designs, we're eco-friendly, we're bespoke, we do drawings and designs, you know, maybe a referral from somebody else, like a size that they cannot find, and, you know, solid wood type stuff. But then I was like, okay, cool, there's a great list, but it's like, what's the why not? Why aren't people coming to us? So the why nots I kind of came up with, and I have like an ongoing list in my journal now, that so I can kind of constantly keep thinking about this. And like the number one thing obviously is budget. So we talk about pricing a lot, and honestly, budget is one of those ones where it's like, I just need to find a better client. I know the sky's the limit as far as what you can ask for. I know people charge a lot for what we do. So for me, budget is just kind of one of those ones where it's like, okay, this is a why not that I'm going to have to deal with, right? I'm going to have to work around. And for me, if it's a budget thing, then it's like, what they really need to understand is, are they actually seeing the value? Are they seeing the need of it? Are they seeing the value of what it is I'm charging? So that's maybe a why not. They don't see the value, or maybe they don't need it, right? Do people need a custom table? Do people need something that is made for them specifically? No, you don't need it necessarily. So that's something where it's like, hey, maybe I need to change something in my sales process or the way we present it to show what the value is, why this is so quote unquote costly. Another reason why people wouldn't maybe work with us is timeline. So things might take longer. So how do I fix that? A, I can fix the timeline, or B, I can change the narrative around our timeline. I think it's a combination of both for us, and that's something that we're slowly working on. The other thing too is like, for us, we do custom. So it's like, there's too many choices. Like there's no menu. So that's why I've been slowly working on developing a collection and adding pieces there just to like give a little bit of a menu. And like, if you could just kind of picture the way a menu would look, imagine sitting down at a restaurant and then the menu's just blank and it's just like, what do you want? And you go, I don't know, tuna fish sandwich, pizza, tomato soup, I don't know. What I think maybe a little bit better is having a menu, which is what I'm working on now, of items. And then at the very bottom, it says, hey, special option, whatever you want, the chef will make for you, right? So that's sort of something that we're working on. The other why not I've kind of come up with is like local, like are we too local? Are people not working with us because of the name, because we're in Philadelphia, et cetera, et cetera. And then brand name, right? So it's like, do we have a strong enough brand name? Is it reputable enough? Again, people might be coming to us for that, but also people might be comparing us against a few other brand names that are maybe stronger than ours. So that might be like a big why not. And the only reason why I'm telling you these, because I think it's like kind of helpful for you to relate to your business and what you're working on, to sort of say, it's helpful, I feel like, when you have examples. When I was a teacher, it was just everything's about examples. So that's why I'm giving you my examples. Maybe they pique something for you. For us, with working with interior designers, right? Why are they coming to us again? Quality, custom, we do shop drawings, communicative, and maybe brand again. Why not, right? Budget. Is this in line with the client's budget? Is this in line with what they want to pay? Is there a better brand name out there? Is there somebody else who's able to do what we're doing that has a better brand name, that is easier to sell to the client? Do they see the value? Can they relate the value to the client? Maybe that's why they're not coming to us. They don't see the importance of it. They don't see why it costs what it costs or why the timeline is what it is. We also don't offer a trade program. which is something that I'm slowly working through as well. Trade programs are difficult, especially when you are handcrafting things, because you just don't have the margins that big companies have. And actually, I don't know if many of you guys know this, but there's a company called Duval, Devol. They have a show, I think it's on HGTV, called For the Love of Kitchens. And one time I reached out because I was doing some kitchen renos, asked if they did design trade program. And they gave me a really great response. And their response was basically like, no, we don't. We feel like we offer the best price. If you notice, nothing on our page is ever discounted. So I think that that's kind of important, and like leading into that, they're also like a pretty big brand that's able to do that. So it was helpful to be able to see that. The other things are like timeline, no custom colors, all of this stuff. So it's a matter of going through the why nots and be like, hey, which why nots can we fix? Which why nots are worth fixing? And then sort of going from there. So what happened is this also led me down the path of like I talked about brand, budget, why not? So who else would they choose? So what I did was on like a separate sheet, I kind of like listed all of our, I don't like to call them competitors, but other people sort of like within our field. So if you're a custom furniture maker, for example, there's like the Wayfair, IKEA, and I did like a single dollar sign on the left side all the way down to like $3 or $4 signs. So it's like Wayfair, IKEA, etc. Like we're not even competing in that thing. And then like kind of next tier up is maybe like the West Elms, Crate and Barrel. And then from there, it's like Our House. And then up is like Design Within Reach, Knoll, Thomas Moser. And then beyond that is like the artisan type, like super artsy artisan, like BDW, Michael Robbins, Pomp, all that sort of stuff. So I'm trying to figure out where we sort of fit within this sort of like pecking order and like where our tier is, so I understand what level of service we need to offer, what sorts of things we need to do to change because of like what people sort of expect within that sort of tier. So that's a helpful sort of exercise too, because it's like, what can we do that's different than the other people that are sort of in our same tier? And all of you guys know all the different, whether you're a ceramicist or you do custom cabinets or whatever, we all know that, and it might be other local companies that you're competing with, is just understanding where you are sort of in that tier level to see what else you can actually offer to be able to like give yourself a little bit of an edge up. The other thing I did too was like, so that's like if we were to do like furniture line type stuff. If I'm looking at sort of custom furniture things, so like there's not much there, right? So it's like, for me, it's like the bottom, like $1 sign is maybe Amish custom, but a lot of them don't do that. And then there's like the local craftspeople, so people like me and all of you guys on there who are single shops. And then and then there's like the one more stop up who's like sort of like commercial contract, commercial furniture. But there kind of isn't really much else in there. So for me, I'm like, okay, this is a cool category that we can take over and we could sort of win, because we can be a little bit of a leg up as far as brand goes from like the local sort of person in their garage, which may be some of you guys. But as you know, you slowly start to grow the business. You can start to change your order and sort of like what this pecking order is, or you just own your category. You dominate that specific category, that specific rung, because I think there's people at each individual level. So this was kind of the mental brainstorm that I wanted to share with everybody else. And sort of the main underlying thing is I want to emphasize how important it is to sometimes just sit and think and be bored, because I think that's how some of these best ideas come. And this is going to be something I'm going to be sort of reflecting on, meditating on throughout the weekend as I do different activities, just letting it sit in the back of my brain to say, hey, how can I position myself? How can I fix these why nots? How can I make a stronger why for these people, etc. All right, guys, hopefully this was helpful. I hope everyone has a productive week this week. Thank you so much for everybody listening. We are constantly growing the listenership, which is absolutely amazing. If you like this podcast, please share it with a friend, share it with other people, subscribe, all of that sort of crap. It gives me energy and gives me desire to continue to do this, carve out time from my relatively busy life to come on and do this. So with that said, everyone have a good one and talk to you next time. Peace.